Hey everybody, St. Paul here. Welcome to another episode of Music on the Run. I'm not even going to mess around here. You know who we got? Hey. Yeah, we got members of Earth, Wind, and Fire. They're coming up next on Music on the Run. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 57 of Music on the Run. I am your boy St. Paul Peterson here at the beautiful Creation Studios. This studio goes back over 100 years. My mom used to record here. Steve Weiss is so gracious to let us use the room tonight because I don't have one guest. I don't have two guests. I have three guests tonight, and we'll get to that in a minute. It is finally hot here in Minneapolis, and now we're getting to spring thunderstorms and tornadoes. I was at the Twins game last night. We had the tornado sirens going on, and I know you guys were in your hotel, and the sirens were going on. Welcome to Minneapolis, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah. So the gentlemen I have with me today, they are three touring musicians with probably my favorite band and probably your favorite band of all time. I mean, talk about an influence on me in so many different generations. These guys get to play with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Now, two of these guys have actually appeared on Funk Friday.
Yeah.
That's right. And we have to get the third, and we will later on because we're going to do a live Funk Friday a little bit later. We'll see if we can fit it into the podcast. Otherwise, just watch next Friday and you'll see it. Please welcome John Paris on drums. He's the drummer for Earth, Wind, and Fire. Morris O'Connor and Serge Dimitrijevic on guitar. Fellas, you made it to Minneapolis.
Yeah, we did.
Man.
And it's not freezing.
And it's not freezing. Yeah, I know. Everybody's like, we love Minneapolis, just not January.
Yo.
Yeah, it's not January.
John, you got ties to Minneapolis like crazy.
Yeah.
And so do you, Morris. You have family here.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a brother in St. Paul, actually.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's why I can't get any tickets here when I come.
They all go away. They all go
Gotta
away.
give them up to family.
And I have in-laws in Minneapolis as well.
Is that right? Do you have any family in Minneapolis besides me?
Not that I'm aware of.
Besides
Just you,
You
of
just
course.
me. Okay,
Absolutely.
good. Well, because you're a Peterson now.
No, I mean-
You
That's
all are.
right. That's right.
That's what we do to every musician who comes into town.
on,
They all
man.
become Peterson.
Yep.
So good to see you guys, and
Absolutely.
thank you for taking the time out. You got a day off, and you said, no, we're not going to take a day off. We're going to come hang with Paul
That's right.
P.
That's right.
Absolutely,
That's
man.
what we got to do.
Without
We
a
have to
doubt.
talk about the plan that we almost had.
Oh,
Yeah.
please, let's get
John,
in there.
tell him about what you called me. John called me on the phone and said,
Oh, man. I was like, okay, we got a day off before we get here, which is very rare. I'm like, maybe we can pull off some of this. First of all, I was amazed that you were in town. So you're like, I'm here. Okay, we got to
Yeah.
go somewhere and crash something because we we'll do that with Jelly Bean anyway.
Sure.
So because you're never here. So I'm like, let me call P and see if we can work something out. So I talked to the fellas first, just in case you would say yes. And miraculously, everybody said yes. So we had 3 horn players, both guitar players, singers. Everybody was coming out, and which we were talking about earlier too. Our trombone player, he's like Eric. He never comes out.
okay,
We
he's
can't get him out. The recluse of funk.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
the
So
Howard Hughes of funk.
man, when he said yes, I'm like, oh, here we go. Call you. You hooked it up. Got
Yeah.
the club.
Through Vanessa, my niece, who
Yeah.
totally hooked it up.
And everybody was going to be cool with us coming in to crash it. And our front of house sound guy got COVID.
Oh, I know. I was
So-
so sad. Man. So sad.
We were like, it's like maybe we shouldn't. We were like right on the edge too of doing
Really?
it anyway. But we knew somebody would probably hear
Oh, yeah.
that we did it, and it would be an issue. But yeah, that was going to be, man, that was a dream come true with me because we haven't really played together. Well, since the NAMM, but I wanted to, incorporate everybody
We
and
are
come down.
beyond the time
Yeah,
do that.
man.
We are beyond. You have to explain to the listeners here. Okay, so you're on the road with Earth, Wind, and Fire. They may not understand. Okay, so what if somebody gets COVID? Talk about the pod that you got going on here to keep the Earth, Wind, and Fire machine happening. Morris, tell us about what that's like to be in that.
Well, we kind of have backups, like our house engineer. Luckily, we have somebody to cover for him, and he stays
good.
back for a couple of days until he tests positive, and then he comes back out. But we have to keep everybody separate because there's so much stuff going on. We have 6 semi-trucks, 6 tour buses, so if one person gets sick, that money for all of that stuff is somebody's eating the cost of all of that. So we have to really be careful with all of that.
You can't cancel a show. That's
Yeah.
just huge money. This is
Yes.
a business you're running here that the
Definitely.
Earth, Wind, and Fire is running.
Well, we kind of did, didn't we?
Yeah,
What?
last year.
What happened?
Well, I'll let Serge go
Serge,
first. and then
Your turn.
What did I do?
But I throw it in your lap.
Yeah, well, just to answer your question, yeah, we have to kind of be cautious. So that's why that particular jam that we were trying to get together, as much as we wanted to do it, we just thought, you know what, just to be safe, because if any one of us goes down, it can cost the show. So it's, you know, and unfortunately, that's what happened last year. That's what John and Morris were referring to. We were how long were we out for? About 6 weeks or more?
Yeah, we almost were done.
We were right there.
The last 4 days, I think. Yeah.
We were out for a couple of months, and just that last week, unfortunately, a couple of the guys in the band got COVID.
Yeah.
And we had to cancel the shows. Yeah, so we made up for them. Fortunately, we could do it in February, but
Right.
we were one of the lucky ones. A lot of the tours were basically shutting shop a week in.
Yeah.
You know, 2 weeks in, and then
Yeah.
they had to just basically stop. We were fortunate to pretty much make it to the end. You know?
Yeah, we did good. Have really well, man.
Have things for COVID relaxed a little bit, or is it still pretty intense as far as your particular camp goes?
I think it's a bit more
relaxed.
It's a bit more relaxed, but we're still being diligent as far as, like, you know, taking the precautions,
Yeah, for us,
wearing
it's like-
masks, you know, just
Doing
Oh,
a PCR
yeah.
test before we go out on the road.
Yeah.
doing that
Smart,
stuff,
yeah.
yeah. Otherwise, you know, not hanging in rooms with lots of people, hence not being able to do that thing. So,
Yeah.
Right.
you know.
But the audience,
Right.
they're like, what mask?
You
So-
do see some with masks, but
some,
you'll
yeah.
see.
You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
it pulled back. But
Everybody's tired of them, but man, I think
Yeah.
they saved a lot of lives.
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For
I think
sure.
They saved a lot of lives. All right, so we got to hop in here now. Because there's 3 of you, I'm just going to ask some questions of you. John, what is your Minneapolis connection? I think I've known you probably the longest.
Yeah.
So-
Well, okay. How much time we got?
6 hours and 42
Let's
minutes.
go. Okay. Okay.
Give me the condensed version of your Minneapolis.
That's a tough one to do. Okay, so I'll go in as quickly as I can. We were in a band, you know, in Oakland, and it was relatively competitive, but friendly competition. We all helped each other out and grew. Eddie was in that band. Eddie was the leader.
I
of the
love
band.
him.
Yeah, so we got horns, the whole thing. We stepping in the whole 9, right? So when Sheila left George Duke, now we're talking 80, 79, 80
right.
or so. She decided she wanted to do an R&B version of herself, come out front, on the drums. So I knew who all the Escovedos were, because,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like percussion, like up there.
Of course, pops.
And we're looking at her, fantasizing the whole 9. But I digress.
Join the club, bro.
So-
Join the club.
Yeah.
I think we're all members of that club.
Brazilian Lover Fair, that album was like,
Come on, with,
I was like, see, I remember. I was like, who is that? Oh,
Yeah.
forgot.
We were
good
in
play.
competition with each other. But
Of
that's another
course,
story for
all
another
of us
time.
were.
Anyway,
man.
yes.
So,
Continue.
she put her brothers on the case, go around looking for some musicians, I want to
Yeah.
scoop them out. And I saw one at a gig of ours. I'm like, I know who this guy is.
Hmm.
I'm going up to him so see what's going to happen.
Right.
And we're kicking it, and I'm thinking, I got to pop the question, right? And he goes, yeah, man, your keyboard player, man, he's really great, man. I'd like to meet him. Right? I'm like, yeah. Keyboard player that was playing with us at that time was Cat Gray.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, Cat was,
Okay.
and he doesn't get enough credit. I was, it's ironic we're talking about this now. I was telling the guys that he doesn't get enough credit for like doing this whole thing. So Cat goes and auditions, tells us, gotta go, playing
Yeah.
with Sheila Escobedo. I'm like, of course you got to go do that, right? Maybe 5 months later, he calls me. And Cat, he don't call you to chit chat, So
Right.
I knew something was up when he called, and he said it was about an audition for Sheila. I'm like, man, why would she want me on drums? She plays. He's like, no, it's not like that. She's gonna be out front singing. I'm like, well, I'll just go audition just to go look at her. I'll just go do it. I'm gonna go, right? So got up the nerve, went
Yeah.
in. And it was cool. I could feel the energy. It was really cool. And got sent home, and nobody called.
Oh.
So I got impatient because I wanted to know,
Right.
if I got lucky, I got to tell these guys. And
Right.
if I didn't, then I go grab my pillow and,
Yeah. Well, you don't have to tell
and
tell
release
anybody.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I called Cat, and he goes, "What's going on?" Nothing, all this small talk, and hey man, so what happened? It's like, what happened? He says, well, you got the gig if you want it. And as he tells me like that, and he cracks up laughing, right?
Wow.
So that's how that started, because I'd been playing with Kat, and I've been playing with her since probably the 80s. We did a showcase for Solar Records,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and it didn't work out
Right.
as well. Solar is interesting, but that's a whole nother issue. So when that fell apart, we all went back to doing our stuff that we do. Sheila would actually come hang out and see our band and the whole nine.
Right.
So now we're approaching like 83. Calls me out of clear blue sky. Let's go, Yanni. It's on. Used to call me Yanni, right? Silent J. I'm like, what's on? What's up? The records are done. She didn't give me any details. She just went right into it. The record's done. Prince did the record. It's on. We're doing the Purple Rain tour. So before that, while I was snooping around doing other gigs or whatever, I had the guitar player in the band. His name was Romy Geroso. That was with Sheila. He goes and does O'Brien via the Whispers, because the Whispers was helping us with Sheila's record. Don Cornelius calls the Whispers, hey, I need a guitar player for O'Brien. Calls Romy. Romy calls me for O'Brien. So I go do it, and while I'm in that situation, he decides, Mr. Cornelius, who's ever one of my mentors, I love that man. He was incredible.
I didn't know
I'm
that.
cutting my teeth. We're all cutting our teeth out there at Larrabee. You remember Larrabee Studios down
Of
there?
course,
You remember
yeah.
Larrabee.
Little
He
Silas
was like,
Jr. I used to hang out with all the
that's
time.
right. There you go. That was Lil's favorite place. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're in there figuring it all out, making mistakes or whatever, and just figuring out how to record as opposed to playing live gigs all the time. And Don decides he wants to sign the band also, aside from O'Brien. So we signed this contract. And if you know anything about Don Cornelius, you don't cross him.
Ooh.
You don't cross that guy, right? But that's pretty much the reason why I missed the Purple Rain tour. I had to tell her no. Oh. Because I was not going to tell this man that hey, yo, J. Don, Mr. C, check this. No, I wasn't about to do that. But that's the reason why I missed the tour.
That right.
Yeah, so I was in and out, and after, the Purple Rain tour, I got back in, with Sheila, and we, throughout the whole 80s, But that's how Eddie and Miko got on. You think Eddie would do it? I'm like, yeah, we're not doing anything. We're just playing clubs and making $20 a week. He'll do it. So,
By the way, that's
those
still
days.
the same pay.
it's still
in the clubs. $20
Nothing
a
to
week.
say yet.
You guys get
Doesn't
paid?
change.
So that's how Eddie and Miko got into, and I'm just like at home watching everybody do the Grammys and the American Music Award, because I was only out for 2 months, but I couldn't leave, and I'm
Right.
like, but that's how it started
Wow.
way back then.
Wow. Then you went on to play with Madhouse with my boy.
There's the other thing. That's how. Well, Levi was
Eric
a part of
Leeds.
that band too. Levi was part of our band with Sheila. So at that
Right,
point, he
right.
was playing bass with Prince, right? Sheila goes, "They look for a drummer called JP." I'm like, whew, man, which was really, really heavy because I only had like 3 days to learn 16 songs with no titles,
How
but
that
numbers.
works. That's how that
That's
whole
crazy.
thing works. But if you can hang, then they'll know that. That was another ploy. Can they
Man.
hang? Can they learn it fast?
Yo,
That was a thing.
man, and I
Oh, yeah.
crashed it, and I thought I was comfortable, and until our guy walks in the room, I'm probably eating a piece of chicken or something crazy, and we're laughing and joking, and Levi goes, Like what? Prince walks
Yeah,
in,
of
right?
course.
And I introduce myself and geek out for a minute, right? And he sits on top of the anvil case, and he goes, like, 7. Okay.
The song 7.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Every Madhouse record was named.
Yeah. I left
by
that small
a number.
detail out. Yeah. There
Right.
you
So
go.
the listeners will go, what is he talking
What does he mean? Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, no, I got you.
7,
I got you.
7. So I'm stalling. And this is why I told Serge a story the other day. That's why I love Eric today. He knew I was struggling.
Eric Leeds.
Eric Leeds,
Right, okay.
man, I had no idea what the melody was on that. So Eric starts, he's playing and he plays a melody. Like, okay, I got
I love you, Eric.
That
Yeah.
went on all day.
Yeah.
Got through that one. Just throws up the number 9.
I'd be horrified.
Yeah,
It is
right.
just a great bass pedal down here. It's like, come on, Eric, come on, Eric. Come
Eric,
on, bro.
yeah,
And
please.
he hooked me up.
He did, every time.
Every
All day
single
long.
time. Yep. And then I got the call that I got that one, so I was really happy, man, about that. But it was in November, out here, and it was snowing this way.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in Chicago, so I know
So-
about this kind of
Yeah, I know you're from the Midwest.
I can
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, but that's how all that started for me, man. And I met all you guys and been loving on me ever since. So I'm so
Yeah,
grateful and
isn't
humble
that fun
for
how
that.
friendship can last that long, man? We don't get to see each other as much as we like, but it just seems like we pick up where we
Yeah.
leave off, and we got that music bond that will always
Yes, sir.
be that thread,
Yes, sir.
That's what's so cool. Morris,
No
okay,
doubt.
moving on to you. And there's so much more to talk about.
Oh, we
I can
come
do
back
an
around.
episode on each one of you, man.
Yeah,
with
let's
all this, with Patti LaBelle and Eric Benet and Stephanie
Yeah.
Mills and Bob Dylan. What?
Oh, man,
Anyways,
no.
we'll come to that another time.
Bob Dylan's from here, isn't he?
He is. My brother played on Blood on the Tracks.
Oh,
Billy P.
oh,
Played
word.
upright
He
on
played
Blood
on
on the
that.
Track.
Oh, man.
For his 60th birthday, I got him a platinum record of Blood on the Tracks.
Oh, that's
He had to
awesome.
clear it with the management. They're like, absolutely, no problem.
Wow.
So
great.
Billy, yeah, so Billy is unbelievable. He's been like a mentor to me. Obviously my brother, but he's a ridiculous player. So, anyways, you all get to know him.
Yeah, yeah.
You've been with Earth, Wind, and Fire for how long?
About 14 years now. This guy here called me.
Is that, okay, yeah. So tell me about the call. Tell me about the call.
Okay.
I want to hear about the call.
It was crazy because I
Because you've
was
been with them since
Like-
2001,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
because prior to that I was with Stevie Wonder. So
Oh, wait.
So-
wait,
Man, we got to
don't-
go back.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
You
Hold
just
the
short
phone.
circuited him.
2. You played with 2 of my idols.
He said, 2.
Killing me.
well, that audition was nerve wracking.
Which one? The Earth or the Stevie one?
Stevie was
Okay,
because
just give me a little snippet. Give me a snippet of that one.
I met Stevie at a club I was playing in the south of France. And Nate said, man, Stevie loves, because he came and jammed with us. Nate Watts, the bass player, said, Stevie loves what you're doing. He's going to call you for the gig. When that chair opens, I'm like, oh, this is some Hollywood stuff. He's not going to call.
Right.
2 years later, in '96, he calls me. This is in '94.
No.
2 years later, he calls me. Say, well, you got to come through. We're going to be at Third Encore rehearsing.
Right.
Maybe you just got to turn his head. I'm like, I got to turn Stevie Wonder's head. Really?
Yes.
So I go there. He said, just learn all the stuff with horns. Don't bother learning the Natural Wonder album. So I said, okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna learn a Natural Wonder album just in case. Of
course.
Because they had all those accents, so I made sure I learned all of that stuff. And I would come in there and we just play standards. I mean, I'm like, really? Stevie didn't show up till like probably maybe 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and we'd been there since 12 noon, and he'd play some McCoy stuff and like, okay, yeah, let's do it tomorrow. I'm like, really? So I was, Nate would say, learn all the stuff with the, you're gonna play the guitar stuff because we're not bringing horns. We not bring horns out on this run, and it's like, okay, So I'm staying up till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning learning all that stuff. Then he sits down. I played what song was that? Tuesday Heartbreak with him.
Oh, yeah. To the heartbreak.
And so we jammed that for a minute, and then we played Days of Wine and Roses.
What?
Yeah.
She
She loves, because the other guitar player was this guy, Rick Zinniger, who played like Wes Montgomery, Schofield, Stern,
Yeah.
Pat Metheny. I'm like,
Was he
Really?
was he testing you today? Was that a test?
Yeah, because he likes playing jazz and
Right.
stuff like that. I think that year, he had a mental block on playing giant steps. So, he had a mental. So he would try. He was going over. I think Rodney Franklin was playing keyboards, and he was showing them giant steps. And for the whole year of '98, we did not do one show without playing giant steps. No. We did not do a show without playing giant steps. But back to the audition.
Yeah.
They said, "Well, look, we getting ready to go to Japan. It's not enough time. Maybe you should have learned the natural one." I was like, "I know it." And he called a tricky ending on higher ground. You know that? You're like, ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba ba da ba ba da da. He said, "Okay, that's it. You got the gig." And that's what they said. I was like, so I was freaking out, man. I was like,
And you said that Lenny Castro was on some of that?
Lenny Castro was later because Lenny had left, and he came. We did Time to Love tour. We were doing the promotion back in 2005, and Lenny, we were in Europe and Japan, and me and Lenny. I didn't know he spoke fluent Japanese.
Oh, yeah. He took good care of me. We were sitting side by side on tour in Japan together, and he knew how to order sake
Yes.
for me until I couldn't walk anymore.
He took me to this place where they had this fish, and they put it was under, the fish was still alive. It was like, I was like, and it's like, man, I can't eat that. And I took a bite, I'm like, man, this is really good. It was in Shibuya, I think. He took me to this place in Shibuya. Yeah.
All right, so fast forward. We got to get back into Earth, Wind, Fire. So John calls you.
We did a tour in '07, and they said, well, we may go out in '08. We're going to do all this, but nobody was telling me anything. It's like, okay, I'm sitting here, and then John called me and said, hey, man, you were in Germany when you called me. Say, hey, man, the other guitar player, I think he's leaving, and, you should come and check it out. I said, okay, well, and I called Nate and said, man, I don't know what Stevie's going to do. I don't, nobody's telling me anything. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go and audition. I think at the time, the tour manager for the last tour was, he worked security for Earth, Wind & Fire. What's his name?
Was it Greg?
Greg Coakley.
Yeah, Coke. Yeah.
He was the tour manager on the tour I did with Stevie in '07. And so he called me and said, man, I was just playing golf with Philip. If you don't come and do this audition, I'm going to kick your ass.
Really?
I was like,
And he could do it.
And like,
Yeah,
he's a
very
big
good.
muscle martial arts guy. I'm
Right.
like, okay, I think I will. But I figured I said I know everybody in the band. I know John. I knew Myron, who was musical director. I was his musical director on his first gig with Otis Day and the Nights back in the '80s. And
Can we dance for your date?
He knows it.
Sorry. I can't help myself.
And I knew Gmo, the other guitar player before you got here. We played together with Otis Day and the Nights.
No way.
And so I said, I know everybody on this gig, but I'm not going to take it for granted. I'm going to learn this stuff. I stayed up all night, made sure. I said, well, since Vadim is not going to be here and they got a gig that's coming up next week, I just better learn the show anyway. And I made sure, same thing, work ethic, and made sure I learned the whole show. And when I came to audition, I was ready to do the show,
So wait a minute. There's a little thread going through this here.
Isn't it?
That I hope that these the musicians out there are listening to.
Yeah, work ethic.
Work ethic.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. This stuff.
put in the work.
You're in one of my favorite bands of all time, Art K2, and the common thread is how you got there is working it out.
Yeah, same.
Being a pro, this is
Every time. I mean, even between Stevie and Earth, Wind & Fire, I played with Gladys, and I didn't get a chance to rehearse with her. At the time, Benjamin Wright was the musical director, and he sent me the tapes and the charts, and I did the homework, and I went over that sound check, did the show. And at the time, the bass player, Scott Kennedy, knew some steps that we did on Imagination. And he said, do the steps and it'll freak Gladys out. And so I knew the song. And she's like, hold on, he's new and he's doing the chorus.
oh, that's great.
But it's like, it goes back to every gig I had to do, you have to do the homework.
work.
Put in the work. And it just makes it easy. It gives you peace of mind so you can come more relaxed on the gig because you know what's going on.
And you can play the music.
Yeah, and you can get
And you can
involved
play
with
that
the music.
great music.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
For sure.
That is unbelievable. We got to talk a little bit more about Chicago in a second.
Oh, yeah.
Serge, I gotta move over to you. Let's see if I can pronounce your last name again. Serge Dmitrievic.
Perfect.
sort of perfect.
You got it.
Thank God for
you-
phonetics on my notes here.
You forgot my last name, Peterson. That's my middle name.
I forgot. That's a given, though.
Of course. Yeah.
So you're from one of my favorite countries of all time. I love, and have so many wonderful friends in Australia. Tell me about the music scene there when you were growing up.
Man, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing. Live music 7 nights a week. You could go any venue. There's 5 bands playing.
Yeah.
You could stay till 6 o'clock in the morning. It was incredible. And then when I was coming up too, I had that opportunity to do that and work and just cut my teeth in clubs and like the smallest of venues to, bigger venues and just, working it out, how it works and the ins and outs of the whole thing and putting in the hours and all of that stuff. But it's really great. It's a great a pit of a whole bunch of different things, and everybody pushes themselves. It's a small country,
Right.
comparatively, like compared to like America, but there's some quality that comes out, and I think everybody is. I wouldn't say competitive, yes, in a way, but they just really strive for excellence, and to their detriment sometimes, because we have this thing called the tall poppy syndrome, where you can't seem to be doing better than the next guy because they'll cut you down and let you know that you're still, one of us. And it's like, yeah, it's cool. So
Right.
it's a bit detrimental to that, but it just, I mean, it does make you want to sort of,
For sure. I mean,
play better and do all of that because you got people breathing down your neck kind of thing. But it is healthy and it is great. I mean, I haven't been back for about 15 years. I still stay
Really?
in touch with a lot of friends, and I've been living in Los Angeles for the last 15 years, and last 8 of those is hanging out with these great fellas. But it's still great. I mean, there was the pandemic didn't help anybody around the
Right.
world.
Yeah, I mean, I was going there once, twice a year to
Yeah.
play,
Gotcha.
and that was like, oop,
Yeah, that sort of stopped, and but now it's sort of picking back up, and it's getting back to what it was like. I think everywhere else, but it's a great place, man. I'm really happy that I was able to cut my teeth there and learn a lot and play a lot, and I was working a lot. I was very fortunate that I got to a point where I could tour with major artists and do a lot of the sessions and
Right.
all that sort of stuff. And people were like, "What the hell are you doing?" When I decided to leave, I'm like, "What are you doing?"
yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to go to America and, see what happens. They're like, what?
How big of a jump is that? Did you have to start
Oh, from scratch.
completely
Completely
over?
from scratch. I knew nobody. I didn't know
Whoa.
anybody. I knew a couple of friends of mine, and the reason I moved over, there was a couple of my best friends from Australia. They'd come over, and they were doing some original stuff, and I kind of needed a change. So it
Yeah.
made sense to me, but to everybody else back home, like, what are you doing? The gigs are there, you're working, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know, I felt like I needed some more,
Yeah.
And so basically started from zero and just started meeting people and, hey, I can play, let me play, you know what I mean? And then
How
would
did
start
you
from
break in? I mean, were you like sitting in places? Were you just being bold and going?
Oh, all of the above,
Okay.
man, all of the above, and just
Because my kid's out there, and this is good word for not only her, but for every other 20-year-old musician in, I don't care if it's L.A., New York, Nashville, they need to know. They don't see the end game.
For sure.
They're down here fighting for
In the
every
trenches,
last dollar to pay their rent. So this is really important.
yeah.
Oh man, it's
Absolutely.
definitely like that.
Absolutely.
It's very real. I mean, it's like, if you really want it. I mean, yeah, there are things you have to put up, certain challenges. Obviously, I know I felt that coming over. I was selling amps and just trying to pay bills. I'm like, I've got to sell gear. I'm at that point, but it's okay. It's just a bit of equipment to get you to the next level and to pay your bills. And there's nothing wrong with working, right? So
Absolutely.
you got to do what you have to do to survive. So, but the thing is, yeah, it's just sitting in or going out where people are, like where the gigs are, where those people that you'd like to play with or be in the scene that you'd like to work in. I'd say go and hang out at those venues because there's a lot of musicians hanging out, and especially in LA, there are so many great nights where there's all of the top guys playing or girls on a Monday, and you can go and check them out and just hang out, and you just you know what it's like. You meet people, you talk,
Right.
blah blah blah, and then from there, you sort of got to do your thing. But that it's really old school and really back to basics. Yeah, the internet does definitely help. Like you can do the whole Instagram thing. You're doing all this. That definitely helps.
Right.
But playing in your bedroom compared to playing in an ensemble, or what I mean, that's a whole nother world. Or
Right.
being in a studio, with you've never met the producer or the artist, and they're like, here's the track. Go for
Let's
it.
go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's not intimidating the first couple of times.
but you've got to do that to
Yeah.
know what that
Yeah.
feeling is, right? Because when you do it at
Absolutely.
home by yourself,
It's not the same.
It's not the same. So, yeah, man.
You got to bring your A game to every gig. Yeah,
exactly.
every-
A lot of free stuff
matter
at the
what gig,
beginning
yeah.
too.
Hey, I still do it. If it's fun, I'm there.
I'm with you, man.
So really though, I mean, if it's,
Yeah.
I would go anywhere with you, knucklehead, like this
Man.
thing we were going to do tonight.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
That was not about the money.
Oh,
Right.
no,
That
no.
was
That's
about
right.
the
Yeah,
love
about
and
the
the
hang,
hang and
that's
all
right,
that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So you must have been doing something right because I looked at your resume.
Oh, yeah.
You got to play with Aretha.
Well, I technically didn't play with her. I played on one of her records because she doesn't
Okay.
travel.
So you played together separately.
Yeah, I cut it in LA. She at that point before she passed, she wasn't traveling anywhere to
Okay.
do sessions. Everyone came to her. I think she was in Atlanta or something like that. So I never got a chance to meet. I mean, when I got that call, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the best day ever.
Right.
Unfortunately, she didn't travel. She didn't have to. She's Aretha Franklin,
Yeah,
right?
Right. Yeah,
So, but I mean, it's definitely a great credit to have. But
Boy, is it
I just
ever.
wasn't fortunate enough to meet her. But I would have loved to. But
What about Ariana?
same deal.
Really?
Same deal. I was working a lot at Brandon's Way Studio, which is Babyface's
Yeah, yeah.
studio. So I was cutting a lot of tracks there, and sometimes
Do you know Chris Riddick Tynes?
no,
Chris is one of the staff writers and producers.
no. I know Anthony Dixon, Tony Dixon, and Paul, who was working. I was getting all the calls through Anthony.
Got it.
But so I'd go in there, and there'd be tracks. I'm like, I don't know who I'm playing for. Then it's like, oh, that's for blah blah. I'm like, wow, okay. So those.
Showing up again, man.
Yeah.
Showing up
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, you just show up, and
Yeah.
like Morris was saying, you got to bring your A game. You don't know. You just
Man,
like,
I was at a corporate gig and I met Calhoun. That's how I got the gig with the Gap Band.
okay.
It's Calhoun. I'm like, Calhoun,
Raymond
like
Calhoun.
outstanding Cal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he called me for the Gap Band gig, and it's like, just like you're saying, it's like a game to every.
For every situation,
Situation,
really,
yeah.
yeah.
Right. So how did you get the call?
Okay, now that's
tell
a
me about
That's
the
gonna
call.
be a funny
I
story.
wanna hear all about this.
Come on, Serge.
Come on, sir.
Wait,
He's gonna-
wait.
All right, you getting the popcorn? Okay. Oh God, it's not that crazy. It's a really good story. I mean, I was doing a lot of church gigs around LA,
Yeah.
and I was doing, I was one of the guys that was like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Fill in here, fill in there. And then I got my own sort of chair that I was at every week. And Myron McKinley, our musical director for
Yeah.
EWF, he was that was his church that he was attending, which I didn't know at the time. But so anyway, how we met was his son was about 2 or 3, and after one of the services, just ran up straight up to me, and just came up to the guitar and started like, so I'm
Oh,
like,
that's
this is the coolest. So I'm like, hey kid, I don't know. I'm like, here you go. And then Myron was like, he came up saying, man, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, this is fantastic. I want to encourage kids to like absolutely play. So we kind of met, just introduced ourselves, and I didn't know what he did. He'd come to services.
Yeah.
And then he asked me one day to record for him for some session. I'm like, for sure. Went and recorded for him, and then I realized, I'm like, okay, this guy plays. This is not
You
just...
had no idea who
I
he
had
was.
no idea who
How
he works
beautiful is
for.
that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is
What,
beautiful.
what he did. I was just like, this is a guy from church. I'm recording for
Yeah.
him. So
Oh, isn't that cute?
I
The guy
love
from
it.
church. That's nice.
I don't mean to like, but you know what I'm
No,
saying.
but no, but
Yeah.
that-
You
that's
hear him play like he's a
awesome.
serious
Better.
player.
But I have no idea absolutely
Yeah.
his track record, right? So anyway, we do that. This goes on for a couple of years, and after the first session, I kind of heard him play. I'm like, okay, you don't just do this as a hobby, do you? He's like, oh no. I was like, who do you work with? And then he told me. I'm like, man, all this time you never told me. Like anyway, so
Right.
And I was touring with other bands, and so I'd try and always catch up. We'd never end up being in the same city. Anyway, so through doing some of the services and being at the church for a few years, I got back off tour with the band I was playing with, Sugar Ray,
Yeah.
which is a band from the
Sure.
90s. I was playing with them, playing bass in that band. But anyway, that's another story.
Greedy. playing all the instruments.
Hey, I'm from Minneapolis. I'm trying to eat.
I understand.
Absolutely. So anyway, so I got back from a tour. Myron was there. He'd every now and then get up and rehearse and do a service with us. And he just happened to say, hey, this was in 2014. After the rehearsals, like, hey, what are you doing on Monday? And I didn't know what he was asking, but I said, he said, oh, Earth, Wind & Fire is about to record a new record. We're going into pre-production. Can you come in for a day and just give us a hand?
A day. Key statement. A day.
Okay.
A day, yes, that's right, a day. So I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course. Like, I'm like screaming like a little girl on the inside, but playing a cool going, yeah, of course, whatever you need.
Don't you have to put on that cool
freaking out on the inside. I'm like, if that's all it was, just this one day, I would, So anyway, so I'm like, for sure, no worries, cleared my schedule. So, and I went in, and the first two people I actually met were these two guys, believe it or not.
Is that right?
These are the first two guys I actually met. We were still in the car park.
Yeah.
They had no idea I was coming in.
Like, we didn't know who this guy.
Who's this guy?
So I'm standing there, we're all chatting.
So we got a new tech or something? Yourself and Drea?
Yeah, so we're chatting. Next minute, it's like, okay, cool, guys, yeah, cool. I go grab my amp, my guitar, and I walk into the room, and they're sort of going like...
Well, no, see, like when we were in the parking lot, I just said hello to him. Like, why is this guy just standing there by the guitar? What's he doing?
Right.
What's he doing? And I say, hey, how you doing, man? And he's the accent. I'm like, oh, dude. And I just walk straight in, have no clue.
Right.
Go ahead, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, so I show up with my amp, I do all this, and I kind of get the vibe, oh, no one knows I'm here, no one knows I'm supposed to be here.
have no clue.
We had no
I'm
like, who is this?
Okay, this is a great surprise. This is awesome. My first day in, and no one knows I'm supposed to be here. I'm like, that's not uncomfortable at all,
Right.
But it was cool. It was not uncomfortable. The guys were fantastic. Everybody was great. So, we just hit it off that one day, and basically there was an album called the Holiday album that I was part of, which was the first ever Christmas record that Earth, Wind & Fire has ever done.
Right.
So there were covers of Christmas songs, but done in the EWF way, right? So that was obvious. So went in on that first day. We did it. We hung out. I was like, oh, you want to come back the next day? I'm like, absolutely. That ended up being the whole production week, and then that ended up being like, hey, you've done the whole week. Why don't you just do the record? So we ended up cutting the record in 5-6 days or whatever. And then after that, Verdine was like, hey, what are you doing this summer? Do you want to roll with us? I'm like, absolutely.
Oh, man.
So I think that was kind of like my audition process, because I know like Morris has got an audition story and everyone else, but I kind of feel like I never did the traditional sort of thing, but that I believe that probably was it.
Sure.
Seeing obviously how we worked together.
Yeah, we were working. We were like in each other's head.
Yeah,
It's
so
like, man,
obviously that's
easy to
really-
play together. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you guys hit it off right away, and
Yeah,
you were
right
figuring
away.
out who's going to do what.
Oh yeah, it was
Right
so
away.
it's so easy. It was no.
I think it was one time we played the same thing at the same time. Like, wow,
cracking up.
We started laughing. It's like, wow, we
and we had
thinking the
never
same-
met before, so it was really good. So the chemistry was great
Yeah,
between us, and I think everybody else, and even things when John would have to communicate to me, oh no, try this or do that, it was just like, it felt natural, felt really good. So, yeah, but it wasn't like I'd got the gig straight away. I was like, come and roll with us, and then they're probably thinking, well, this guy can't dance or move. He's definitely not going to be the guy on stage.
Right.
So then that part...
I shot him high kicks on some footage, by the way. I see y'all kicking.
Yeah, that's all I can. That's my signature move. No, but then that was the part that I was like, okay, the music's very important. So when I first started playing and doing the show, the focus was the music. Let's make sure that that's right.
Yeah.
And then I'll never forget. We were in Toronto, Canada. And then Philip Bailey was at the rehearsals like, okay, tonight you're starting to do choreography. This is the first step. And he showed me the first step, and it was the first number. I think we were opening with Boogie Wonderland.
Yeah,
back
yeah,
then.
we was opening with Boogie, yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, yeah.
We had to do that line together.
I'm like, there's this whole...
Oh, that's when that was still in.
There was a guitar feature in the
Yeah, we
first
do a
song,
guitar
and there's
harmony.
this dance, and I'm like, yeah, and he's like, yep, you're doing it tonight. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. Anyway, it happened. Morris everyone was
Right.
so fantastic.
Yeah,
So
you got
anyway,
it.
so it started from that, and then my days off were just spent shedding in front of the mirror doing dance steps. And,
Trust me, I know
You
that
know the
one.
deal,
Oh
you know
my
the deal,
God,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I was the long, lanky, white dude. Look, it was not pretty.
You're
It was
right.
not pretty. And they let me know it, too.
Oh, they let you.
They let me know it. You're like, man, what's the matter with
What are
you?
you
Like,
doing?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's
crazy.
hilarious.
So I remember in 2010, before I started in 08, but I was just doing choreography and playing guitar. okay, starting 2010, Morris, we know you can sing.
Sing,
You gotta
yes,
sing. I'm like,
yes,
oh, no, I gotta sing and do choreography and make program changes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he made his mistake messing around in the dressing room. So, we would
I
just
saw that.
throw some old crazy record on and he would start singing and be like, damn, Mo, you sing like this all this time?
Yeah, you hold out.
It just turned into a thing and Philip was like, he can sing, huh? Like, yeah. His whole family can sing, but okay. When you see the tongue chewing, it's something's
Thinking,
about to
oh,
go
is that
down.
what it is?
Something's like, his wheels are rolling.
Wheels are working.
So he threw it all at Morris. So he's gonna sing, dance, and play at the same time. Everything.
I said, you know what? This is gonna be hard, but once I do this,
It's in there.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're not stepping back there, but you're flying back there. But
And singing too. This
Yeah.
one.
Oh man, he's
They let me.
he's
Make a
driving
fool
the
of
train, that's
myself
for sure.
every now and then. Like, okay.
So let's talk about the band now. We got to get a very small glimpse into each of your lives, and man, we could talk forever on that.
Sure.
Earth, Wind, and Fire, one of the most iconic bands of all time. What do you guys think is the secret sauce that makes Earth, Wind, and Fire appeal to such a wide demographic in, age group, race, whatever? I mean, everybody. They are the ones that have been the glue for so many people. Everybody loves Earth, Wind, and Fire. Ain't nobody I've ever met who's gone, oh, I don't like those dudes. True. What is the secret sauce of that music?
Man, I would
Start with you,
think
John.
that credit would have to go vision, correction, would have to go to Maurice
Yeah.
because he saw it before anybody else saw it. I mean, he was already, an icon in the studio, and with Ramsey, he was already rich and famous already.
Right.
But he just saw this, like you said it perfectly. And that's how he described it. He's like, there's a whole lot of thing in there,
Yeah,
that I could
right.
just see that we could do it. We could just mix it all up. And he told Ramsey he got this vision and he got to start this band, and they all thought he was crazy.
Really?
Oh yeah, they thought it was a mistake. He left. His family was like, "What are you doing? You got it made. The in crowd, what are you doing?"
right,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, and they were killing. They were like playing arenas with the trio, killing it. I got to go do it. I see it. It's right here. So he just mixed it all together, and who knew? With the original 9, that as we call it, there was another version of that band, but when Al and Larry and those guys
Yeah.
all got together,
Yeah.
that's when
Yeah.
it all popped. And then, with him not really wanting to sing, which is crazy to
Yeah,
me.
he didn't.
Yeah.
Was he playing drums the whole time or what?
Yeah, he
Okay.
played on all those records, and not really wanting to sing, but the lyrics, and the melodies just spoke to everybody. And
Is
it
that
wasn't
all him?
real
All
crazy.
his
most
writing?
of it. Most of it.
It's not just love songs. It's love songs to the universe.
Exactly.
That's the
That's-
whole thing.
yes.
That's what it is.
Thank
Love
you, Mo.
song. Love yourself. Love the
Yeah.
world. It's that kind of vibe, which is
And
that's
yeah.
universal. It's not.
world
We
singing
need
about
all that
somebody,
right about now.
Yeah, that's why I think we're still living, because it's like doing that, and
Right.
You should
That
see, man.
positivity that always, on every single record
For sure.
Earth, Wind, and Fire has ever put out, has always been positive.
Bro,
Yeah,
when he got to the Vamp, and what's not Love's Holiday, Be Ever Wonderful. I took that personal when he said, "Don't let the world change your mind." I felt like he was talking to me. I was like this little kid. Okay, all right, I'm gonna keep going. It ministered to me like that.
Yeah.
And there's, like you said, one of those songs for everybody in there somewhere.
Right.
And it's easy to play because you feel like there's a little bit of you, you can be vulnerable with and go through the music that way. So for us, it's the same way.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm watching Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like I'm playing fantasy right now. What the hell?
Oh man,
I
it's
bet.
crazy.
I bet you guys must be going pinching yourself, going,
Joe.
Man.
I
no.
still cry on stage at points just because of like I can't believe this shit is happening. Like
When I started singing and I'm like, I'm up here singing devotion with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
what? Blow my mind.
we don't take it for granted.
Yeah,
no,
we-
doubt.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
1 second.
That's
know.
probably why you're
Question.
20-year vets. I mean, and
Yeah, you're right. I think so.
how is that chemistry? There's a lot of dudes on stage at the same time.
Well, it sucks.
Everybody
we
has
fight
their
every
different-
night on the bus. No, I'm kidding.
right?
You're paying me to be here, so that's the only reason I'm here, so.
No, but I can feel. We're talking about Earth, Wind, and Fire being positive, though. But you three cats are positive. I mean,
yeah.
I hadn't seen you in years, man. We were just
Yeah,
like we were
man.
long lost brothers.
That's right. Because that's what it is.
But that's what you do. I see you come into the room, and you're ministering to the people in the audience too.
Oh, yeah.
Through these songs and through that iconic band.
what an honor it is too, man.
Yep.
And I'm sure that the principals can feel that and know that, and they
yeah.
know that you have the respect for that music.
For sure.
Absolutely, man.
For sure.
For sure. There's no doubt about it. Especially the guy with the long hair.
Oh, Verdine.
Mr. Verdine
No,
White.
I was praying that he might
Yo.
actually make a little cameo today.
Well, you know,
He's
he,
my
I
hero.
asked
We were
him,
trying.
he had a thing. He had
we
a
were
thing
trying.
tonight. But yeah, he
Oh,
would have.
man.
Yeah.
Yo, you talking about some amazing stories? Oh my God! I
Oh,
know
you'd have
that
to do a
dude.
whole episode just
Oh
with him.
Yeah,
my
yeah,
God!
we
You
have
know
to do
what?
it.
Maybe we can hook that up. We should do that.
What's
'cause have that guy come in here and do a podcast for you, even if it's via Zoom. Because I've known this guy since I was like 20 years old, and he told me a story the other night I never heard.
Ooh, I need to
It
hear that.
never stops.
Well,
This
hook me
guy
up,
is like,
fellas.
we're gonna do
Hook me up.
We're gonna do it. We'll make it happen.
So he is okay. I've met Verdine a couple different times. We have many people in common, us and Jason Sheff and a bunch of
yeah.
other people. I am like a little scared kid going up. Yeah, you know how you are when you meet someone.
Oh,
He
yeah.
just was like, hey, what's up? Going
For
on?
sure.
You know, all over the place and very Verdine. But I'm like, he was so cool with me, and meeting your idols can either be a really cool thing or a disappointing thing.
Tell me about
You
that.
know, and he did not disappoint
Nah,
me.
he's great.
Oh, great. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
very
It's been-
consistently amazing person.
It's really cool.
Yeah, man.
How long you out for? How long are you guys on the road?
We finished this run. We go to Vegas on the 16th, and we play a corporate on the 18th, and then we go back out with Santana on the 16th
Santana.
of June.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be out for a month, home for a week, out for another month, home for a week, out for another month. Then we're gonna do 2 weeks, the last week of October at the Venetian, and the first week of October at
It's
the Venetian.
itinerary right there.
Oh, I guess. Wow, you memorized that thing. I asked the right guy.
How you do that? It's amazing.
So, fellas, we've been in this rat race for a really long time. What makes it exciting for you still? Why do you still want to do this? Serge, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, great. I still feel, I don't know, man. I love it. I still absolutely love it and get like the biggest thrill in the world by listening to music, playing music, studying it. You know what I mean? Being a student for life with it is the best thing. I don't know. I still get a kick out of it. And I really don't know what else I would be doing because
Yeah,
it's,
same here.
I know that sounds so cliche. Everyone says it, but it's kind of true that without it, it's kind of, and I definitely, I know we can maybe all relate, but these last 2 years when we weren't able to do what we do,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was hard.
man, that was like, that made me really realize like, I don't have anything else. You know?
Reality check,
in-
wasn't it?
Hey.
Yeah, so-
okay.
So, and like I said, and I'm being fortunate to be able to play with these guys and the whole Earth, Wind and Fire thing. I mean, that's just the best thing that's ever happened to me musically as far as, you know, a band that I'd like to be in and also work-wise, you know,
Right.
it's a fantastic opportunity. But more so the music, man. I've been a fan of the band since I was a kid. Like we all have. So
Yeah.
I'm from Australia and I'm playing. I mean, you could never tell me that would happen in a million years. You know what I mean? So I just think just still the joy of it still makes me want to do it, you know?
Yeah,
And you've
here.
got funk bands that you're doing stuff
I've got my own band, Intergalactic.
Tell me a little bit about it. Now, come
I've
on.
got a thing with one
Yeah,
of my,
yeah. You gotta hear that.
with my
It's a thing.
bestie,
Killing
Christian. We kind of moved over together. But yeah, we've been doing this thing for a few years now and I've done a whole bunch of festivals. We're about to drop 2 new records this year. We recorded them at a place called Sonic Ranch out in Texas. Have you been there? Have you heard of it? Man, it's this great ranch, self-sustained. You go there, you live there, you play music, record music all day long. They cook They feed you. You sleep there and you come back with albums or whatever you to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a
Cool.
thing.
So yeah,
huh?
and we did it
pretty
to
cool.
tape, and we did it to tape. So we really wanted to sort of.
Did you really?
Yeah, we did the whole 2 records to tape, man. So we really were like,
Wow.
let's play.
Yeah.
Let's play the whole way through. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that'll be coming out later this year. Intergalactics.
How do we find it?
You can find it on Instagram and Facebook. It's Intergalactics with an X, not a CS at the
Okay.
end. And you'll be able to find us Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff.
Funkies.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
of course.
Orange section,
God.
all of that stuff. Man. Killer. You gotta hear it.
Wee.
Can't wait till it come out.
Mo, what keeps this fresh for you? Why are you still doing
I just love doing. I started off with my brothers since I was like
You have
6
a
years
musical
old.
family.
Yeah, so
I know. About
grew up in Chicago, had a
Yeah.
group called the O'Connor Brothers, and then Ike and Tina Turner grabbed them and produced the album on them. And they were in LA, but then it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know how this crazy this business, but everybody kind of stayed in music. But I just grew up around music all my life.
Right.
And that's like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Those guys, I grew up, me and Verdine talk about the same studio we all grew up in Chicago, Paul Serrano Studio.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
We knew a lot of the same people, and my brothers know some of his brothers as well.
Are you the youngest?
I'm the youngest in my family. Yeah.
Me too.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
So that musical family thing, it's just playing music. I just love doing it, man. It's being able to play with everybody. A lot of artists that I grew up listening to. It's like, man, I'm on stage with these people, and I play with had the opportunity to play with the Crusaders as well, and
Wow.
and keep that same old feeling. I'm like, we in South Africa.
Right.
I'm like, tear coming down my eyes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you appreciate it too.
Yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
I can see it a mile away. What are you doing when you're not on the road with Earth, Wind, and Fire? You chilling? Or are you making music?
writing music. And actually, me and John is working on a project.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we got to tell you about it.
Should we tell them about it now?
Not now.
Not
But,
now.
That's part 2 of this podcast.
yeah,
Yes,
you.
there
Yeah,
you go.
it's
Yeah.
some fun stuff.
Yeah.
John, why are you still doing this, man?
Man, I have no idea. In fact, you know what?
Yeah.
You need a tech.
Yeah,
No.
bro.
Man, it's the same, with these fellas. With the COVID thing, it didn't really take that, but it just really, opened me up to how amazing my life has been. My whole life. It's like, man, and it chose us, it all chose us. But when you're a kid, you don't really know that. You're just running around doing something that you want to do, and I realized maybe 11 or 10 or so. It's like, I gotta do this thing. I'm at basketball practice, hearing all these basketballs bouncing. I'm hearing music. Either I'm a knucklehead, I'm nut, I need my head examined, or these rhythms, I gotta go discover what this thing is going on in my head.
Right.
And to still be doing it, man, wow.
Yeah.
That even intensifies it even more, because if you were to tell me that at 10 years old that I would still be doing this at years old.
I'm gonna check and see how old that is.
Oh man, it's really old too. And I'm having probably more fun now.
Are you?
Yeah, man, because the discovery process never stopped for me. I'm really figuring out, oh wow, there's possibilities with this and that, and the whole rudimental thing, man. I was just doing what I heard. I'm an audio listener and had no idea, how much easier it would be to, do it correctly.
Oh, that.
So that thing I just
that.
started, a few years ago, and it's just opening me up. So while we were at home for that year, I was reconnecting some stuff. I'm originally left-handed, which I wish that I had not have done this.
Oh, you switched it up. Huh? Okay.
They switched it up. My witchcraft superstitious family, left hands, all that crazy.
Got
Devil.
it.
So
the
now,
Oh, man.
so now, just rediscovering what this hand can do over here with the whole drum set over here, So
Yeah,
now,
right.
some fun stuff going on in my brain that I probably won't ever be able to use, but it's still fun to be able to have the facility, to play Billie Jean,
Yeah.
have that stuff back there. It just feels different to me now.
Yeah.
So it's just so
So you're
much
still discovering
fun,
stuff,
man.
yeah.
So much fun, man. But these guys, so playing with these guys too. We can't, I can't even overstate it enough, man, and what a pleasure it is, because, we played with some knuckleheads.
Yeah.
Had some guys in the band that you enjoy playing with, but as soon as the beat down, I'm out of here. Because I don't know what's going to happen when this guy starts talking. So, but we just have so much fun together, man.
Laughing on stage.
That
like
just intensifies. I can't wait till sound check tomorrow.
Right. Oh, man. So, and you're playing a gig tomorrow in Minneapolis.
Is we playing tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow we're playing at Mystic Lake.
Mystic Lake Casino.
sir. Casino.
I will be there.
Come on,
cheering
man.
you all on.
You got to
Thank
be.
you for that.
You got to be. You got to be.
Yep.
Fellas, I can't thank you enough for spending an hour with me and telling, talking about your careers and your life with this iconic, incredible super band
Man,
that
come
you have the
on,
pleasure
man.
of playing with. And it's fun to be able to call you friends. And I'm
right.
proud of you all the time when I see you up there and when I'm watching you online. I'm like, that's my boy.
That's right,
Doing
that's
great.
right.
It's just, how you do that with your friends.
For sure.
Right? It's like,
yeah.
man, you deserve that. Good for
sure.
you, man. I'm glad you're still out there
Yeah.
doing it. So thanks for taking the time to shed a little light on what it's like to be in this band. And I know my listeners will love this podcast.
But wait a minute. We got to ask you some questions.
No, you don't.
We're done.
No, you don't.
Just
What you
one.
got? What?
Can we ask you just one?
You can have one question.
How did you get so funky?
Because
Lord.
it's cold.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm cold.
I'll
Because the
take
funk
it.
will keep you warm.
I'll take that.
Man. No, isn't
At
that funny?
night.
The funk is the funk is a funny thing, man, because you can't. It's hard to teach it, and it's hard to absorb it if it doesn't pre-exist inside you.
Gotta
Very
be
true.
there, right?
It's got to kind of be there.
Yes,
It can be encouraged and
sure.
and molded
Yeah,
and things
absolutely.
like that. But if it's not already existing inside you, it's a hard genre to just be true to.
Yeah, you can't
can't
study
fake it.
You can't
fake the
study
funk.
it. You can't. I mean, you can't. You can study it, but you can't
That was a clinic
learn
right
the
there.
mechanics of it because it's there. You just either you have it or you don't.
And I got to credit my family for encouraging that. Our musical family, youngest,
Yeah.
and of course Prince and everybody after that.
Yeah.
In different ways and styles and whether it be rock and roll, I still find the funk and the rock.
Absolutely.
They are a
man.
perfect
Yeah.
marriage.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Whether
No question.
it's classic rock or if it's funk rock or whatever, it all has a place in that genre. Bebop
It has its pocket.
Yeah.
all has
yeah,
that.
all-
So
yeah.
it just needs to be loved and encouraged and
Yeah, man.
and brought out.
We
And
gotta
if
do
we
that.
can do that for.
Let's do it.
Yep.
We can
I'm
do that
down.
in Funk Friday in about 5 minutes.
Let's
That's
go.
it. Let's get rid of this episode. Let's get
Let's
to
go.
playing some music.
Get some
This
instruments
is
here.
St. Paul. This is episode 57.
Thank
of
you,
Music
P.
on the
Appreciate
Run.
you. Thank you,
with
sir.
Members of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much.
Thank
What,
you,
what,
man.
what a blast to have
Yeah,
you.
appreciate
All right,
it.
I'm reaching over.
Thank you, Paul.
We'll see you next month. Music on the Run was hosted by yours truly, St. Paul Peterson. Edited and produced by my buddy Davide Raso. Video editing by Emily Turner. And a very special thanks to the people who financially support this podcast. And remember, it's all about positivity.